Hey, welcome everybody. We're going to be starting in a few minutes. Thank you.
I just said that the pass was held already.
What are we doing? In or out? In? I think they're hot. Call me if you need me, okay? I just need to take a mental break, figure out what this thing is.
I don't like this.
Put salt and pepper in it.
Oh, yeah.
Hi everyone, Mahogany will be here in just a minute.
Okay, everybody. Is everybody ready to get started? Okay. Awesome. Sorry, we were having some slight technical difficulties.
Hi, everybody.
Okay. So as you can tell, Mahogany is actually in my apartment in real life. So let's go ahead and kick off. So welcome. This is a representation of our City Block team. It looks like we have almost 30 team members on. We're going to have a mix of clinicians, behavioral health specialists, operators, technologists, the whole gamut. A little backstory, I just met Mahogany. She and I know our friend Janet, mutual friends, and you've known her longer than me, but I called Janet in California and I said, hey, I want help connecting with this community, and we met, and it's been awesome. So I'm really excited that you're here. And you showed up in roller skates, which I thought was the coolest thing ever. So fun. All right, cool. So why don't we kick off by well, first of all, welcome, and thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. What would you like to share with us about your story? Let's maybe start there.
Okay. Well, I come from a modeling background. In 2016, before that, actually, I had to walk away from a successful modeling career. I just couldn't deal with the gender dysphoria that I was feeling. And it was really weird because I had went to Europe, I went to South Africa, and I became a top model in South Africa. And then I was doing advertising for liquor and cigarettes, and at 23 over there, and you have to be 25 in America. And so when I came back to America, my family was just so shocked that I was walking away from my modeling career. Like, what do you mean? You've been working towards this for years. And I said, I just can't do it. What had happened is that most of the time during my youth, during those times, 80s and 90s, everything was like sort of like unisex. So, you know what I mean? You kind of didn't have to choose like a gender, and they just kind of like threw everybody, fall into the gap. Everybody's like Benetton, like everybody's kind of like, we're all in it together. And then as I got older, once I got back to America, I had gotten into my early 30s. And then they wanted me to be the young father, like on Nickelodeon, Nick at Night commercials and things like that. So I had to like choose a gender, play these gender roles. And the young dad, and I was just like, you know, I was having, I didn't even want to, you know, I was trying to figure myself out in real life. And then it was hard enough. Then I had to go on a set. I knew I was acting, but I had to go on a set and play these roles. So it was just very, very difficult. I had to walk away from it and just give it away. Coming into 2016, they were just starting this sort of transitioning thing with the insurances were just coming on through the Obamacare. So the Obamacare, because of the CARES Act, we were able to get certain surgery. They were doing the breast augmentation, and everything was just sort of word of mouth. So my general practitioners were Cal and Lord. They're very forward in this sort of thing. So I was able to navigate my way around making phone calls, and you just had to do that. You had to make phone calls. Then once you made these phone calls, then you were on these huge waiting lists. So you're out on a waiting list that were like a waiting list for like a year or two, you know? Yeah. And so it's like, oh, great. You know what I mean? So I got my way over to Mount Sinai Hospital and found out that they were trying to develop this program that they were trying to put together of a transgender division. So this would be like a combination of the patients working with the doctors, working with the mental practitioners, and just sort of everybody together. We just kind of like throwing in whatever, like everybody get in where you fit in, and just kind of like, we're just doing this thing. And at the time they didn't have, I'll fast forward, but they didn't even have the doctors trained in this area. Dr. Ting, Jess Ting, was one of the first doctors that jumped on a board. They asked every single doctor at Mount Sinai Hospital, they all said no. They thought he was absolutely crazy. They were like, they even questioned him, are you transgender? You know what I mean? Like, what's the deal? You know, so Dr. Ting, by the grace of God, took on the trans community and took this on. And he had to be trained for these certain surgeries by Marcy Bowers. Marcy Bowers has been the lead surgery in transgender surgeries for years. So he went back and forth between Colorado to get trained and whatnot. So therefore, in 2016, we were able to start the program, and we were able to sort of, now everything was kind of like getting a little bit more organized. People were coming to us. There was a hospital in the Bronx. Is it Lebanon? Is it Lebanon Hospital in the Bronx?
I don't know.
Bronx, Lebanon, I believe it's called.
That's a real hospital.
They had one surgeon doing their surgery there, thank you. And then Dr. Ting, of course, at Mount Sinai Hospital. So there we were, and you know, here we are. So that's where we are with the surgery.
So it sounds like you were a true founding member of trans healthcare and I guess evolving trans healthcare, at least in New York, I would say. It sounds like to me.
Well, definitely, yeah. And it was interesting because at the time, we have all these transgender killings across America, and you know, it was just crazy because I live in Brownsville, Brooklyn, and they were just doing the breast, and then they said, okay, well, we're going to honor to do the vaginoplasty. So it's kind of like you kind of had to hurry up because this was the last year, guys, by the way, that Obama was going to be in office. So there was only a few months left that you had to do, like run around and try and get these surgeries, you know, whatever. Is this still going to be honored or whatever? Yeah. You know, if he was to not, you know, if someone else is getting off. Okay. So, yeah, being in that we were like running around, and so they were just honoring those 2 surgeries, but they were not honoring the facial feminization. And I found that really interesting and crazy because your face is the first thing that the world sees, you know? And sometimes it's a matter of life and death, whether you make it at home. You know, someone can see you on the train and it's about within 2.5 seconds, they're like downloading whether you're a male or female. You know what I mean? It's like, boom, they're attracted to you. And then they go from being attracted to you to like, they'll start, if they're a man, you're a transgender woman, they'll work their way up, they look at your body. And then they're working their way up and it's like, boom, I looked at the face and I saw the Adam's apple. So it's like, oh, that's a man. It's like, oh, she tried to trick me. So then it's like, they go from, then they want to go from wanting to sleep with you to wanting to fight you, wanting to kill you. Within a matter of seconds. It's your fault. You tried to trick them. You tried to change them. And you're just literally trying to get from A to B. So I felt that this was extremely important. One time people were screaming out of the car. They said, kill yourself. And I think that was the turning point for me when I heard that. I literally turned around from going back home from the train. I'm a very strong spirit, but I turned back home and went back home and I cried for like 2 hours because these people screamed out of the car, ew, kill yourself. And at that moment, that's what geared me up. I said, I will fight and I will fight and I will continue to fight to get the laws changed for the facial feminization so that I will be the first to get the facial feminization and that everyone will be able to get the facial feminization, because this is not fair that someone in Beverly Hills can pay for the surgery. They may be able to pay for the surgery, but someone in Brownsville has to sit with this pain and they are not able to afford the surgery. So that was my goal with getting the laws changed, that someone in Beverly Hills can get the surgery and someone in Brownsville can get the same surgery as well, and they can now be on the same equal playing field.
So how recent was that work, and is it now officially done, so to speak, or is it now fair and equitable, or is it still a fight?
Well, this is the thing. Everything was officially done, and I felt that we were really moving somewhere, and we were getting somewhere with in the last 4 years. We also documented this. All of this was in a documentary film called Born to Be, which I'm also a part of. Yep. And they started immediately filming, which was unheard of, that a hospital would give the green light to a film crew to come in to film all these patients and all these behind the scenes things. Most of the scenes were filmed at Mount Sinai Hospital. So they were filming us before the surgery. They actually filmed the surgeries and then afterwards too, as well, to follow us, to show what the impact is and what the importance is of a transgender person getting these surgeries, and how is this life-saving, and why is this important? You know. So we have a movie star in our midst, and which is awesome. You mentioned this film when we first spoke, so the name of the film again, and when does it come out for like a wider release? Yeah, the name of the film is Born to Be. We released to the New York Film Festival in September of 2019. And then we went to the Hamptons Film Festival, and then we were also invited to other film festivals across the country too as well. But of course, because of the COVID, we had to shut down. And then now, we will now be going forward right when the things pick back up here. Okay. So we may see it in theaters as we release them out. Yeah. Will it land on like either Netflix or anywhere digitally? Well, that's TBD. Okay. Yeah, they're waiting to do like this sort of announcement. Okay. So I don't want to step on anyone's toes today. Okay. But cool. Yeah, we have some exciting news coming or whatever. But this all started in 2015. You know, I was denied 2 times by Health First. They didn't find that it was necessary, medically necessary. They said that it was cosmetic. And then after the second time, along with the conjunction of Mount Sinai Hospital, we filed a case. And then I got a legal lawyer from Legal Aid. And then me and the lawyer, we put together the case, and then we presented the case And then
Oh.
a few months later, we went to court, and then it was reversed, and the judge didn't, she was wondering why we were even there. That I had already done the breast augmentation, the vaginoplasty, so I had already transitioned from male to female. And so she said, Mrs. Phillips is already a female, why are we here? They need to finish up the job that they started. And so then that's where I was granted the facial feminization, which I had March the 1st, 2017.
Awesome.
Yes.
Very cool.
And I just want to say, I'm sorry, that, the surgery is fantastic. I mean, I have to say, transitioning is about mind, body, and spirit. So you can do the physical transition, and then you have the mental, which you're working on throughout the years, and you have to it's up to you to work on that. It's really up to you as an individual to get to a place to where you're comfortable in your own body. And the spirit is very important too as well, because whatever your higher power is that you believe in, it's important that you tap into that spirituality or whatever you believe in, because you can't rely on man to see everything through. You have to be like in this place where you're comfortable within your body, because once you're comfortable in your body, and everybody, and whether you're cisgender or transgender, everybody wants to be comfortable in their body. So if you're like a gay man and you're outside and you're happy and you're like, oh, you're walking down the street and you're feeling good, or if you're a trans woman, you're just feeling good and you're just going from A to B, and just other people see that and they're not happy in their own body and they're not happy with themselves, they'll try and bring you down. So they want to bring you down, your spirit down to where they're feeling, where they are, their vibrato is. So if you're up here and they're feeling down here, they want to bring you down to where they are, you know what I mean, and cancel you out. It's like your spirit, bring your spirit down. It's like they don't even know you, but it's just one attack, you know what I mean, or whatever. So you must be in a mind frame with your spirit to be in the right place or whatever. And although you may have the physical surgeries, it just can't undo all the years of wherever age you're at. I'm 52. I started to have the surgeries when I was 49. It can't do the 49 years of all the mental shit that you've been through. So all the anguish and all the bullshit that you've been through before you've been through the surgeries, it can't undo that. So you're still like, a transgender person is very important. I think a lot of people, they think that they're going to get this surgery and this is going to be the end all, and life is just going to change and everything is just going to be fucking great. You know what I mean? And it's not. And they're like, what happened? I thought everything was going to be great, and I'm still depressed. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, I feel that a lot of people still look for, after the surgeries, they're looking like, they're still in that same place before they had the surgeries of trying to look for approval. So you're trying to get a pass. You're trying to pass. You're still trying to pass. You're still trying to pass for the neighbors and the people down the street. And everybody has this different acceptance level or whatever of like what is passable or what is not passable or whatever, or like what's their standards. And so we go out in the world and we try, as trans people, we try to match up to everyone in the world's standards. And that's like an impossible task to do, So it's like, how about you give yourself a pass, and you know what I mean? And then you can go from there. And then I found with myself, when you give yourself a pass, then you can then come into your purpose. Because we were not put on earth to pass. We were not put on earth to just be out here passing every day. You were put on earth for a purpose, for a reason. So you need to charm in, hopefully get to a place where you can be like, okay, look, I just got to accept shit for the way it is, and be happy, so that I can then now get into my purpose. And then I can just fulfill my purpose and live my dream and just be happy.
Awesome. So let me ask you, because we actually, when we talked also, I jokingly asked what the title of your biography would be.
Yes.
So you've gone through this major transformation later on in life, and you've had great political successes, I would call it, right, with fighting your cases and advocating. What would the title of your biography be, and have you identified your purpose? And if so, what is it?
Well, I think it is. It's to fight for all the rights and be truthful about and talk about the things that everybody doesn't really want to talk about. I would say that's my purpose. We're stronger as the gay community, the gay community and the trans community is stronger. We're stronger united than we are divided. And I feel there's a lot of division going on in the world and a lot of buffoonery and this deceiving. And I feel that if you get caught up in those things, then you can get like kind of like off track or whatever. You know, we have so many problems that we need to face. You know, we're dealing with so many things with the COVID-19, with the racism 20, with Black Lives Matter, with the healthcare system, which I thought was solved because I know a lot of people were like waiting for the COVID-19 to finish or to get to some like, you know, wherever, to where they could start the surgeries up again and stuff like that and get everything going again. But now President Trump has gone back now to say that he's not honoring that no more. So he's like, well, yeah, what we said about us covering the surgeries, we ain't doing that no more. We're just not doing it no more. We're not covering the surgeries no more. So it's like, you're like, well, dang, you know, I thought I was just waiting for that to be like back on board so that I can then get my revision done, you know, because I've been waiting to get my revision, which is like to get something corrected or whatever that didn't go so well with the surgeries, because often things don't go like 100, you know, with the surgeries. These are the plastic surgeries. Or just get your surgery for the first time and be in the right body.
Yeah.
So everything with the COVID-19, with the racism 20, with the Black Lives Matter, everything equals back to equality is what I'm finding. And I find that a lot of everybody is being sort of like divided up, you know what I mean? That sort of thing, you know? And with the Black Lives Matter, we have a huge problem that needs to be spoken about. Yes, systemic racism is definitely is definitely going on. It has been definitely going on for a long, long time. But in the Black community, we also must face the fact too as well that we have also a problem too as well. At home, we start with, you know, we're told that we have to change the narrative. We have to change the narrative because we have like Black gay men and trans women and trans men that are growing up in their household feeling like that they don't matter. And then they're saying Black Lives Matter. And, you know, the first thing they're told is like, no homo. No homo. So it's like, you could be having a conversation with a friend, you gotta say, no homo, you know what I mean? Or if you're a Black trans woman, you know, it's like they wanna fight you during the daytime and sleep with you at night. So it's like people wanna fight you at the day and then sleep with you at night, but don't tell nobody. You know what I mean? And so we've gotta stop all this. We've gotta stop this stuff. I know some transgender Black folks, men and women, that went down to the Carolinas to participate in the Black Lives Matter movement, and they were being mocked by their own people. I mean, like, they were like, well, damn, I came all the way down here, like,
to be supportive.
Supportive, and I feel fucked up. Like, I feel funny. People feel like they don't matter. They feel like they do not matter at all. And so when you're facing all these different things and against the world, you just feel like, well, damn, you just feel defeated. You feel defeated as a Black person, as a gay man, as a trans woman, you know what I mean? And then we're going forward and then we're going backwards and then we're getting the surgeries and you're not honored getting the surgeries. So that's saying to like a trans person, like, your ass does not matter. You don't matter. We going back. We're not paying for that. We're not paying for that. We said we were going to pay for that, but we're not paying for that no more. It's like, but I thought you said you were. I thought I mattered. No, you mattered yesterday. You don't matter today. We took it back. And so it's like real fucked up. It's like a contradiction going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
what would you want to share with our clinicians that are on today who work in our communities? They work with a myriad of individuals. Many of our members are people of color in and around the boroughs, here in New York specifically. What would you like to share with the clinicians that are on the call today? And they could be anything from RNs to behavioral health specialists, that sort of thing.
Sure. You don't have to be trans to understand trans issues, or, you know what I mean? We are all a part of the human race. You know, we are all made in God's image, you know, and everybody needs to stop. They need to stop this shit because, like, you know, we need to, like, they say, well, what is the solution? We need to, like, try leading with compassion. Try putting yourself in someone else's shoes. We're all made in God's image, you know, and it's ridiculous that all of this hate and all of this stuff. I would think that, you know, I grew up in my household that you treat others like you'd like to be treated. And that's it, you know, everyone has a heart. I mean, you know, it's like, you don't have to be trans to understand. You don't have to be a trans doctor or a clinician or a nurse or anything like that, or Black or anything like that, to understand, you know, to have compassion for someone.
So what I heard in that was lead with empathy.
Yes.
And one of our values as a company is aim for understanding. So
Yes.
It sounds like that goes really hand in hand with what you're advising and wanting us to know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Can you share with us, like you and Kate and I had talked about how the Black trans community has their own unique challenges within the trans community, right? Do you want to speak to that at all for our group?
Okay, meaning like, can you just elaborate a little bit? Like,
so in the trans community, whether it's, you know, male trans, female trans, you know, all people of color, all races, and etc., there are other challenges. There are specific challenges to the Black trans community and Black female trans community.
Right.
And you spoke a little bit about that, obviously growing up in a
right. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, in a Black household, okay. So in a Black household, like, we don't have a lot of fathers. There are not a lot of fathers in the household. So you don't have, like, you're not growing up a lot of times in a 2-parent household. Okay. And then so you're, like, told at the age of 5, like, you start at the age of 5, you know, as a boy, you know, you're told to boss up. You know what I mean? So you can't cry. You're not, like, really crying. Like, you cry a little bit, like, it's like you have to, and then, like, you have to suck that up. Like, you know what I mean? Boss up real quick, you know what I mean? Or whatever. So you go through that in your adolescence or whatever, and then you come into your teen years and you're looking for mentors and stuff like that. And yeah, they're hard to find. Like, you know, everybody's kind of doing their own thing. So it's kind of like hard to find mentors, like old school, like before, like back in the day. You know what I mean? So then, like, there's the gangs and stuff like that. And then so, like, you know, people take you under your wings, you join gangs or whatever, you know, and you're just looking for some type of mentorship, like, you know what I mean? And the next thing you're just, you know, if someone finds out that you're gay, you know, and you're in a gang, it's like, get the fuck out of here with that. No homo. You know what I mean? So where you felt wanted and you felt appreciated by your community, once they find out that you're gay or you're trans or whatever, it's like, not up in here. And if you're in a household, it's like, you know, once your mother or somebody finds out that you're gay or you're trans or whatever, they're like, well, you're going to be transitioning up out of this household is what you're going to be transitioning into. You know what I mean? Not up in here, you ain't going to be not up in here. So it's like, you're just straight from, like, your teenage years, you're just like, boom, you're on your own. You know what I mean? You're looking for, so then, like, if you're a trans or something like that, then you may go towards, like, a Vogue house. Like, so, you know, the mother of the house becomes your mother. She's your mother figure. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, So that's just where we are.
Well, now I have to ask if you were ever in a Vogue house.
No, I was never.
Cool.
I was never in a Vogue house. You know, I would have to say, you know, now it's like it's like a call to arms. So it doesn't matter who you are, like, you know what I mean? As long as you know, you could be an OG on the block, wherever you are, you know, you need to step up. It's like a call to arms, everybody, you know, if you're a nurse, practitioner, whoever, I mean, you know what I mean? Because everybody now with everything that's going on financially, everybody's looking out for them and theirs. You know, they're no longer looking out for the neighbor and the people down the street. We need everybody to step up and all, you know what I mean? And be a leader wherever you can be a leader, you know, wherever you can get out there and, you know, you don't have to be straight to get out there and toss a football with the neighbor down the street, with the kid down the street. You don't have to, you know what I mean? They may not have a father, or you can toss the ball, baseball gloves, like I do on my block, you know what I mean? With the kids on my block and spend time with them. They love that.
Cool.
They love that mentorship, and they're clinging towards it. They're like, you know what I mean? They're like, oh my gosh, you know, somebody help me, you know.
And you do that now.
Oh, I do that now in my neighborhood. You know what I mean? I'm there for everybody on my block. I'm like around, like it's like a zone, like I created. You know what I mean? I'm there for you. You know what I mean? Whatever you need, come. You know what I mean? I got baseball gloves. I got, you know, different things like that or whatever. The kids, they come check out stuff and then they bring it back and all sorts of stuff. And I get out there and do stuff with them. You know, we need people like that.
Awesome. Well, I have two other questions, and then I'm going to turn it over to all of our team members here, because I'm sure we've got loads of questions to ask. But one of the questions that we had was, how would you advise, or what would you advise us to focus on as a community of both healthcare professionals and non-healthcare professionals to help advocate for the trans community? What should we be thinking about?
We should be thinking about housing, more of about housing, you know, economics. We need to really follow everything all through. So we set up like a type of program. So we're like, you know, making sure that, like, you know, we following all the patients from, you know, just not like in a documentary film like they did with us, but like, I mean, kind of like what they did with us, but in real life or whatever, or whatever, you know, on an everyday basis with many different people, like the before, the, you know, the following them and making sure they're okay during the surgeries and whatever, and having people like myself that are maybe are able to do home visits, because I knew after the surgeries, they do offer you to have like a RN come out. It's like 1 or 2 times or whatever, just to make sure that nothing's like, you know, everything's cool or whatever. Right, or whatever, but it's just like the 1 or 2 times or whatever. But if you can maybe have like people that have had the surgery, like myself, it's kind of like, then we can, I know that helps a lot, because I was able to tell the girls a lot of stuff that they didn't know, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, lay this way when you're doing your dilation, you know, lay all the way back, make sure that you're lifting your legs up, elevated with the pillows, so you have a better angle on it, so that you're, you know what I mean, just little things that are major things that can help people along, and then so they feel that they're better being taken care of too as well. And then after, you know, the aftercare and whatnot. One thing I did want to touch on too as well is that I think where you were going to as well with the other problems within the Black community too as well, that any of my people that are watching today too as well, the one thing that we have to solve too within our own community is that we have to stop killing each other. So I know that, you know, I mean, we have problems with police brutality, and we have all these different problems outside of our neighborhood. But in our neighborhood, y'all, we got a problem. We have a problem that nobody's talking about. Okay, because last weekend, during Father's Day weekend, we had over 100 people shot up in Chicago. A few of the victims, one of the victims was 14 years old. She was shot in the neck while she was watching TV in her house. Another victim was a 3-year-old, and he was with his father. His father was in the Target or whatever, then he got shot up or whatever. So we've got to, I mean, you know, when we say Black Lives Matter, you know, like we have to look at it like, you know what I mean? We have to really value all Black lives, and we have to show that we value our own Black lives too as well, because people outside of our community are not going to take us serious, that are saying like, you guys, you know, you're saying Black Lives Matter, but I mean, like, what about all the shootings that happen amongst your own community? You know what I mean? And sometimes
and attacks on trans Black women,
and attacks on trans Black women too as well, where they're being killed constantly. You know what I mean? This is a lot of this is happening from our own people too as well, that are killing the Black trans man, the Black man is killing the Black trans woman. You know what I mean? And that was someone of color that's killing somebody of color. So these are things that need to be addressed, that may be uncomfortable to talk about or whatever, but we have to be, unfortunately, we have to be uncomfortable to get comfortable. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to talk about the uncomfortable things, you know, because they don't want to be uncomfortable, or they don't want to make anyone else. I don't want to make you uncomfortable. You know, oh my gosh, you know, but we have to get uncomfortable. And this now is the time, man. It's like we need all the help in the world, and we need Jesus on top of it. We need whatever higher power you believe in, like seriously, because right now it's going into some times where things are just getting real bad, and they're just getting like, it seems like they're just almost getting compiled, you know what I mean? And people are like almost losing hope. And when they are not able to get their surgeries, and then they're dealing with Black Lives Matter, and they're dealing with COVID-19, they're afraid of getting sick and their family members getting sick. And then they're dealing with all these things that are compounded, you know what I mean? They start to lose hope. And once you have a person, spirits chipped away, and they lose hope,
what's left?
That's a huge problem, because it's kind of hard to put that back together again. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to put the, you know, Humpty Dumpty and kind of put all the pieces back together again, because Humpty had a big fall, you know what I mean? So,
well, like what you said, I mean, you have great one-liners, by the way. I think the one-liner you just had was really cool. You have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable, which is really cool. So we may be uncomfortable now, but it's probably going to take it more to actually get to the place we want to be. So that's really cool.
Yeah. I'm sorry, the name of my biography, I actually did write a biography as well.
Okay.
After I will share this, after I had the surgeries, I still felt this gender dysphoria feeling, this really fucked up feeling, like, excuse my language. I'm sorry.
Okay. That's okay.
Excuse me, everybody. But, I was like, well, what is it? What is it? What is it? And I said, mahogany, you know what it is. You know what it is. And I was like, no, I don't want to face it. I don't deal with it. And I have alopecia and I have propecia problems with my head. So I was like, you know, I'm really hot in this wig. I just can't do it. But I was so afraid that, you know, I was in the middle of doing all these interviews, and people were, you know, whatnot, and they were just coming at me left, right, and center. And I said, I really don't have time to think about it, you know. And then one day was, you know, the people were coming over and they were like, well, we're on our way, we're in the car. And I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna wear the wig. And I was like, today is to face it. Today is the day to face it. I want to face it. I'm so scared to face it. And I had to look at myself in the mirror, and I had to embrace the baldness. I had to embrace the alopecia and the propecia in order to deal with it. And that was the hardest thing in the world, because I thought, well, once I take off my wig, will I be losing my femininity? Why, you know, how will the world see me? You know, I just felt so depressed. In order to deal with that, that's what I had to do. And then I said, well, I bet you I'm gonna be able to help so many people with this problem. So I documented it, and I actually made a journal, and I photographed each step of the way. And I set up appointments to then tackle it, you know. And I found once I took off the wig and I embraced the baldness is when I was able to deal with the problem. So when you face something head on is when you're, you know, the gender dysphoria feeling that you may be feeling about your body or whatever, instead of ignoring it, when you face all these problems on, that's when you're able to move forward. You know, it's hard for a trans person to even just exist. So when you wake up in the morning, your face right before your feet hit the floor, it's like, whoa, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I got to go take a shower, and it's like, then I got to look at myself in the mirror and get dressed, and you don't even want to see yourself, because it's like, you don't want to look at your body.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So with the alopecia problem, with the propecia problem too as well, I was then able to embrace that too as well, keep a journal too as well. And I started to document that and write the book that I have now documented, Bald to Bold. And I call it Bald to Bold because I was bald. And then because with the baldness, what it does is it as your hair falls out underneath that baseball cap, or if you're wearing a wig or whatever, it worsens the problem. So as your hair is falling out, it chips away at your self-esteem, little by little. So where you have this confident person out front, you're isolated in your house. You just don't want to socialize, very much so. And that's interesting because it's not only with just transgenders, it's with every gender, whether you're cisgender or whatever, everyone deals with this issue. You know, but I found this correlation with the same feelings as being the gender dysphoria feeling,
right?
You know, so then I started to tackle it, and then we started to do it for different things in the last 2 years, since 2018. We've tried everything to get my hair back. And now I'm in the midst of something big. I don't want to make an announcement,
okay,
but I'm in another legal thing too as well, to get some things changed around so that everybody will be able to deal with that issue too as well.
Awesome.
And in the name of my biography, I also created a hair product that also helps with the problem with fullness. I trademarked it as well, to get more hair follicles back. I mean, there is no cure to alopecia or propecia. However, you can do certain things naturally. And so I put together a natural ingredient product of 20 ingredients to get fullness, to create the fullness, you know, to get more hair follicles than what you have or whatever. So all that helps or whatever. And it's called Bald to Bold as well.
And where is that out and available for people to read, or is that coming?
That is coming. That is coming.
Bald to Bold.
Yes, that is coming. And now we're just dealing with, I'm just dealing with the release of the film, because I've been traveling, you know, I was traveling around with, everything's B to B, born to be.
Okay.
And then now I'm dealing with some behind the scenes with Bald to Bold, legal situations or whatever, so that now all trans men and women will be able to also, you know,
go through that process.
Go through that process and whatnot, and then so.
Cool. Well, let's jump to questions from the crew.
I'm sorry I didn't give anybody else a chance to even talk.
All right. Let's. I'm looking through the Slack channel really quickly just to see. Raquel, if you're still on, you mentioned that you had a member going through this process. I'm curious if you've got questions and would like to.
Yeah, I have a new member, and she's in, I want to say, kind of like the early stages of having the gender reaffirmation surgery. She's given me some information to look on the mass.gov website. We're in Massachusetts, to just, because I was unsure if it was covered. Honestly, I didn't have a background on it, and she's educated on it, and she's looked it up, and it seems like Mass Health, which is the insurance out here, does cover it. If you're connected with a clinician, you have, you know, documentation, referrals, and so she's got that, and she's beginning the process for facial reconstructive surgery.
Oh, yeah.
So she has a consult coming up, and yeah, I'm just trying to be supportive and provide any assistance that she may need during this process.
Okay, well, one thing I would say is you being supportive is great. You're being a supportive friend. That's awesome. When she gets it, she may think like, oh, she's just like right away she's gonna be done. You know what I mean? Like okay, everything's gonna be. She's gonna be swollen for quite some time. Yeah. So it takes a real long time. Like for everybody's different, but sometimes it takes, depending upon what you have done, it takes a while for the swelling to go down. I know like here, the last bit of my chin, is now starting in this spot to go down. So you might find like one side of your chin, like going like, you know, that's down, that's up or whatever, things like that or whatever. But everything eventually will fall in place, but it just may take some time. And so just be patient.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think it's so important, you know, for her. She's described wanting to feel comfortable in her own skin and feeling, you know, this way since her teenage years. So I'm fully supportive of her, you know, being her best self and feeling comfortable and connecting her with providers and making sure that she's got transportation. We scheduled transportation. That was a barrier to get to the appointment, and just being supportive. I'm her community health partner. So
That's awesome. And make sure that she knows, and you let her know as a friend, that nobody's perfect. And I think that's one thing that we forget, because as trans people, like, it's like we go out getting these surgeries and we're starting to look for perfection. It's like, it's like you think you're going to come into this perfection. Nobody's perfect.
yeah.
Like, give yourself a break. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're all a work in progress.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of it all. Like, enjoy it. Don't enjoy the process. It's
She did
like a
describe
pregnancy almost. Like, yeah, enjoy your pregnancy. Like,
Yeah.
not, it's like a pregnancy. You're not pregnant, but you
describe looking up like the hip to waist ratio and things, and I tried to tell her, you know, like I'm not perfect. Like my body, I probably don't have the right hip to waist ratio either, you know. So
yeah. It's like, you know what I mean, where it's like, enjoy it, just enjoy it, because she spent all this time, like, people, I think they get so frustrated, and you spent all this time to get to this point where you're finally, it's gonna happen. You have a date, that surgery date. Oh, I remember hearing that. Like, that surgery date is just like, oh, I got a surgery date. You know what I mean? So you get your surgery date, and then you look for your surgery date, and you just look towards your surgery date and stuff like that, and just make sure that your spirits stay up. It's like, you want to just enjoy it.
and what you were saying about the swelling, like
Transitional pregnancy, but you want to enjoy it. It's like, yeah, enjoy it.
she did describe being maybe, you know, in pain after the swelling. She's looked it up, so you know, we'll provide VNA or any services like she needs that will help her, you know, transition and recover from
Sure.
it, you know, just
Sure.
like any other surgery.
Sure. And it's okay to reach out to other people that may have had the surgery, like myself, you know what I mean, and Instagram or something like that, you know, if they have any questions and stuff like that, you know what I mean? There's a lot of late night calls, you know what I mean, where you're like, okay, wait a minute, hold up, girl. I need to, like, you know what I mean? Like, something is just feeling a little bit, or, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, you know, because you're so nervous. So, but sometimes you just make that one call and it's like, oh, okay, cool.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I'm just glad that this is a discussion that we could all have.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Raquel. Other questions?
I have a question. I didn't post it in the Slack channel though, but I just wanted to ask this question.
Yeah.
So my name is Shairi. So I'm not a trans person, although I'm part of the community. But so I'm still learning about the trans experience and listening to trans people. And every time I go back and learn, you know, I find that there's more layers on it. So I always feel like I don't know enough. And sometimes I find myself involved in these conversations with people that are like just transphobic, like just people making these offhanded comments, and, you know, everybody's concerned about people's genitals. And that's the only thing it boils down to for them, is what's between that. And it's usually directed at trans women. Like, I don't really hear any questions about trans men that often, but sometimes I avoid these conversations because I'm not super knowledgeable, or because I feel like I have a very base level knowledge and there's just so much stuff. I guess my question would be, what are ways to, when I decide that I'm going to have these conversations, because some of them you just know it's not going to go anywhere, but when I decide I'm going to have these conversations, what are some ways to like approach these conversations? When particularly thinking about the fact that, you know, I'm not trans, and that I don't have all of the answers.
Well, I would say, I would say, you know, I mean, just try telling them, like, you know, what if it was your brother or your sister or your cousin? I mean, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, think of it that way. You know what I mean? I mean, you have to just have compassion. I mean, like, you have to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. I mean, you know, you can't just go around judging people too as well. In actuality, only about 13% of the transgender community actually wants to have surgery. Most people are like cool with it where they are in their trans existence. You know what I mean? Not everybody wants to go through physical surgeries. Only about 13% of the community actually wants to actually transition physically. So it's just about really, like I said, just maybe putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. Like, you know, walk a mile in somebody else's shoes, man, and you will see life totally different. Totally different. You'll be like, damn, I didn't know. They'll be like, I swear, they'll be like, oh my God, I can't, no, I can't do this. My feet hurt. My feet hurt. I can't. I just can't. How do you do it? How do you do it? You know, I mean, like, seriously. No, and then they'll see it from a whole different perspective. You'll be like, yup, see, I told you. Yup. It's not easy, right? It's not. It's not.
Char, what role are you in?
I am a pod ops associate in the New York market.
Okay, cool. So she's here in our New York market.
Okay,
awesome.
awesome.
I get that perspective, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Was that helpful?
I think it is. I think, yeah, it helps me kind of get an approach, because the thing is, like, I'm not a book of facts. So I know that I'm going to get, I guess my main concern was that I'm going to get the facts wrong when speaking to other people who are also not knowledgeable about trans issues. But I'm thinking, like, maybe if I take some of the different experiences that I've heard from trans people and just try and give a little bit of perspective and appeal to empathy, then I don't have to be.
I think a great thing would be for you to also watch the film that's coming out, Born to Be, watching our film, you know, because it really gives you a different perspective of, like, you know, the way I think the world will look at this totally different. I mean, you know, a lot of times, you know, they see the community and they see us being radical and this and that, and they look at us in a different way, you know what I mean? And we're just like, you know, this presents us as just human, just from a human aspect, you know what I mean? Like, we're just people.
It sounds like the film will help create empathy, because it takes you through the journey of from start to finish, right? Because that's how I understand the film. I haven't seen it yet, although I'm going to. But would you agree that that is one avenue of which someone could educate themselves and create empathy and understanding?
Yeah, because most of the time they've seen the community. We've just been out there, like, entertaining people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they see us as entertainers, and they're not seeing the human aspect. You know what I mean? Where we're coming from, where we're really coming from. They just seeing us out there voguing, or they just seeing us out there on stage, you know what I mean? And entertaining, you know what I mean? So now you're able to see behind the scenes when somebody's at home in their house, in their crib. You know what I mean? Like, when they're, like, when they're sitting there and they're talking to you about their pain and all the mental bullshit that they have to go through. And you're like, whoa, wow, yo, I wasn't even thinking like that. Like, oh my God, my cousin is gay. My cousin I just found out they transgender too. And they just, you know what I mean? We were trying to keep it on the hush hush, but now I see where they're coming from. Oh my God, let me call them immediately. No, this is not cool. This is not cool for somebody to feel like that as a human being. You know what I mean? They just want to be, somebody just wants to be happy in their body. What's wrong with that? Somebody just wants to be, like, go through their day, wake up, you know, and have a great day. I mean, what's wrong with that?
Right.
Why is that such a problem? Why is that such a problem with you to see somebody else happy?
If I could add to that a little, like, about normalizing it, that definitely resonates because my member talks about wanting to maybe join the military, having a family, being married, you know, things that any typical person would want to do, you know, the same goals. So it's really just,
I'm so glad you said
nothing
that,
different.
Because, you know, that's what the surgery does. It's letting the world know that we have morals, we have goals, we have standards. You know what I mean? They're like, probably like before, I mean, I don't know what they were thinking about the trans community. I mean, they just thought we were shit. They thought we were all selling our bodies in the meatpacking district. And I mean, let's get 100. Let's be real. You know what I mean? And, like, you know what I mean? They were like, just a bunch of tramps. You know what I mean? Workers at night, street workers. No, we're not, man. We're like, you know what I mean? People have, you know, goals, dreams. They go to school, they go to college. They want to be like lawyers, doctors. They come, you know what I'm saying? They're out here doing things, big things in the world, making changes in the world. And we need to we're waking the world up to that.
Awesome. Other questions? We have about 4 minutes left. Want to make sure we get as many questions in as we can. Anyone from the clinical side have questions? I can't see everyone who's on, but I'm curious.
I don't know if you guys can still hear me.
They can. Yeah, they can.
There, you know, there's lots of people that want to get the surgery too as well. If you know somebody that's trans that is getting the surgery and stuff like that, like, okay, with the waiting list, they're gonna have to work their way to the front of the line. So they need to be like, don't call these offices with an attitude or whatever. Like, don't feel, I feel a lot of these people are just like feeling entitled, like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, so now they're paying for it, and they just came in with, they came up to Mount Sinai with this real nasty attitude, being real nasty to the doctors and the nurses and stuff like that or whatever, and like with this like bitch attitude and stuff like that or whatever. No, man, no. Leave that at home. Leave that at home, because they have somebody right behind you that also wants to get the surgery. Come with your paperwork ready. You know what I mean? So if you were to, you know, do not be canceling appointments and stuff like that. If you were to go to see mental people to get your paperwork lined up or whatever, because all these things take time. You know what I mean? Don't cancel your medical appointments. Keep your medical appointments, and have everything in order, you know. But personality is everything. Like, personality is everything. People are going to remember you. People have to remember your personality. By the grace of God, I was able to work my, like I told the lady, like, seriously, like when I went to, this is no lie, you guys, and I'll be quick. When I went to go get my breast augmentation, like I got approved for it like in like November or something like that. So I was like, I got approved for it, and they were like, okay, I got it all. And they were like, well, okay, but honey, there's still a waiting list and stuff like that. You are number and I was like, okay, you know what I mean? But I called all the time. Hi, this is Mahogany Fields from Brownsville. How you doing, sweetie? How you doing? And every time I went, how are you, sweetie? So I could leave. I've always been this way, so it wasn't like I was being fake. You know, I just wanted to leave a lasting impression of my personality, you know what I mean? And being kind goes a long way, you know what I mean? So and I said to the lady, I said, well, honey, I know we're getting ready to go into the holiday months and stuff like that. I said, if you get any cancellations, like it doesn't even matter. It can be last minute. It doesn't matter. Like, it could be like overnight, like one night before. Just call me up. Like, I'll totally be ready to go. Like that. She's like, they were like, oh, she is a trip. Like, okay, honey, okay. So the lady actually remembered that. And she actually remembered my personality. She called me up and she goes, it was like, I don't know, like December, whatever, like, so whatever, the 2nd or something like that. And she's like, hi, Mahogany, we had a cancellation. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, so I was so excited. I thought she said the 25th. She said Christmas. I was like, oh yeah, honey, I can come on Christmas Day. It don't matter. She said, no, honey, I was saying the 5th. Are you available on the 5th in a few days, honey? I said, yes, ma'am, I'll be. She goes, well, honey, listen up. This is what we need you to do. I need you to go tomorrow, get your blood work done right away at the whatever hospital. Come right here to 86th Street. We're going to be waiting for you. Our team will be waiting for you until we're not leaving until you get here, because we need to go over some things like that or whatever of the surgery thing. And then it's going to be the next couple of days then thereafter or whatever. And whatever. So God works in mysterious ways and things happen. You know what I mean? You just have to have faith. And I'll just end on that. You have to have faith. Faith is so strong, like, you know what I mean? And a personality, good personality, and nobody can keep you from your destiny. You know, what's for you is for you. And nobody can change it, man. Nobody can't change it. And one thing I have to say that I've also too as well, so I did my surgery on December the 5th, 2015, by the way, which is awesome. And, you know, nobody can take away what's for you is for you. Your destiny is your destiny. But how it can change is if you allow negativity. So this is when I say your spirituality and your higher power, you cannot speak negative. So whenever you're gonna speak negative or you're thinking negative, don't speak it. Speak something. So if you want to say, oh, I feel so ugly today, don't say you feel so ugly today. So I feel so beautiful today. You know what I mean? And then when you changing this around, you're gonna find that you are speaking. What you're speaking is like you're manifesting it into existence. So then you like, it's like really weird because people say, well, damn. And they look at me and they're like, she's roller skating around and shit. Like everything's all good and everything's all great. Like, you know, they're looking at me in my neighborhood like, man, we dealing with the COVID-19. She's Black, she's trans, and she's happy every day. I mean, she lifts me up. Like seriously, like what is it? You know, it's because when you tap into that, it's like, you know, what's for you is what's for you. Nobody can take it away, you know, and nobody can change it. You know what I mean? It's like a higher power, you know what I mean? So then what you do is then you start going out and you start claiming all these things, and you could just start going and claiming all these things. And they're like, well, damn, she's poor. How's she claiming all this stuff? She just claiming stuff and the stuff comes and it happens. Like, how is this happening? Because you claimed it out your mouth. So whatever you speak out of your mouth, and I would try this with everybody. I would like to challenge everybody. We tried every other challenge. Let's try the spiritual challenge. So the spiritual challenge is when you're thinking something negative, don't speak it. And then like only speak positive things. And let's try this for a couple of months, and just try it for a couple of months. I guarantee you're gonna be like, oh my God, what she said is working, like straight up. Like, yo, like I'm just out here claiming everything. You know what I mean? Yeah, I want this, 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 I can do it all. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So I think that's like our takeaway. Our takeaway is to try the spiritual challenge.
Yeah.
Where when we think a negative thought for the next 90 days,
yes,
we say something
positive.
the positive,
the opposite
out, and we'll see how everyone's life changes.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Any other questions from the team online before we wrap up? Lots of cool comments coming in here. Okay, awesome. So you're going to keep us posted on the movie release. So we'll let everybody know.
Yes, please go to Instagram. You know, Born to Be is the page, and then you can follow us on Instagram, Born to Be. And the film is going to be out. Please go, bring your family members and friends, and Lord, I just thank you guys.
And you'll keep us posted on your biography, Bold to Bold.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome.